How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of CityZilla Plays City Skylines. And in this episode, we are going to be turning off the parking AI. And the reason why I decided to do an episode on it is because I was diving into why we are having such a crazy influx of people utilizing our transport hub. This is just a crazy amount of people. I mean, we're having thousands and thousands of people, and every single one of our transit lines has 100% car trips saved. And I was like, man, that's really weird. And although I would like to believe that my city building skills are that good, I did dive into the parking AI, and I kind of knew that it did prevent people from utilizing pocket cars, which is a big part of this game. I just didn't realize the impact it would have on transportation. And so it kind of was something that I learned now that we have been playing this game for a little while. And so sadly, we're going to see what happens with turning it off. So we're going to back out of this and look at our traffic. And though we have recently been having some traffic issues, mainly because of these tram lines right here, and then this main road over here leading over to our new entertainment complex area. What I'm interested to see is when we turn off parking AI, are we just going to start seeing a ton of people pulling out their pocket cars and just traffic showing up everywhere in the city? And so it's going to be interesting to see. One of the things I did want to say is I really hope that Colossal Order decides to implement something like the parking AI in City Skylines 2. I think it is incredibly realistic and a really nice feature. I think with the whole transportation 100% cars saved thing, it is a little buggy, but for a modder to create, I think it is fantastic. And the reason why I decided to turn it off is because it's not a great comparison for people who don't play with mods, and I know it is a very small percentage of people who are able to run them. I know the console people can't play with them at all, and then I know that it takes a reasonably powerful computer in order to run a lot of the mods. And so I think it's a little unfair for me to be making these videos and kind of comparing my traffic to anybody else's traffic when I do have that mod enabled. Though I do hope that it is added in the next game. I think having parking mechanics and making so that your sims take parking into consideration is something that you see in cities, especially in high density neighborhoods, to the point where a lot of people who may live in this area and even work in this area, maybe they would forego even purchasing a car just because maybe they don't have street parking, or maybe there's not a parking garage attached to their building, or maybe they just don't need one. And so those would be mechanics that would make the game a little more realistic and fun to kind of plan around. With the parking AI mod, the way that the creator has it set up, the Sims do check for nearby parking when leaving, and if there is an open space for somebody to spawn a car when they're leaving a destination, when they don't have a car already parked, then a car does appear. But if there is no free spaces, then that person does utilize public transportation more often than not, and that's why our public transportation is just so crazy, especially with these tourists. And it is kind of realistic, especially for tourists, because we don't have like rent-a-car centers or anything, which would be a cool addition. Because normally for transportation areas, you'd have some sort of rental car center, and then all these people would be getting off this train, going to the rent-a-car center, and then driving their rental car throughout the city. But because they don't have that option, they don't have the option to pull the car out of their pocket. They are just taking the trams, which is really cool. I am definitely going to miss this look, because this is just really cool seeing all these people. Like, look at all those people just going down there. It's so many people. It just makes your city feel so alive, and I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing all this. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. And so one of the things we do have to do is go into, pause the game first, go into options, go into traffic manager, and then go into gameplay, and then uncheck enable more realistic parking. And then we need to go ahead and reset everybody. So reset stuck sims and vehicles, remove parked vehicles, and then we need to go down here and actually clear all the vehicles. And so what that does is gives us no cars, and so theoretically we have 100% traffic right now, as there is not a single car in the city, which is kind of interesting. It's probably the only time that we'll have an opportunity to actually view the city without cars. And so it is kind of cool. You do still see some pedestrians, but It is a little interesting, but we are going to hit play, and then we are going to back out. And so right now we're at 100% traffic, and it looks like it just already dropped down to 46. A couple of the issues we're going to have is all of our transportation lines. So all of our trams need to come out and repopulate their lines. All of our buses. So let's come over here. Yeah, look at that. They're already all coming out. They're just going to be queuing up, forming huge lines. And so our traffic is definitely going to take a hit just from that, especially our trams, because this area is already kind of a congested area for a ton of trams to now have to come out. But what we're waiting for is to see how bad our traffic gets. We want to see, like, look at all these buildings. These trucks are just spawning out of everywhere now. It's definitely going to take a little bit for this to fix. It's kind of funny because I reset all of them now. All their little delivery trucks are coming out, and so we're just going to back out and let's see how this goes. See how red this turns. My prediction is that it gets down to maybe, I don't know, like 70%. But I think it'll balance out, but it's going to help us to identify some problems within our city. And so let's go ahead and leave it there, and let's wait and see. So we definitely have some issues in regards to traffic. I was kind of expecting it. The parking AI does limit people from pulling out cars, and so as a natural byproduct, we just had less cars. But we definitely have some areas that are worse off than others. One of them is this whole train hub right here. Like right now, we got 2 trains coming in. We'll kind of see every time trains come in, there's just a huge slew of people who end up pulling out their pocket cars right here, and so we got 2 trains coming in, so this should actually be, we got a 3rd one coming in too, and a 4th one. So this should get pretty crazy pretty fast with all these people. And you just kind of see, and this is how the normal game works. Everybody starts pulling out their cars. Luckily, we still do have a pretty decent enough transit system to where even with parking AI off, we're still getting a lot of these people to choose the public transport. And I'm actually really surprised. I was kind of expecting people to not use this as much. Maybe everybody pull out their cars, but this is still proving to be pretty effective, especially our metro. I did end up having to go down to all of our metro, delete everything, and replace it all. I'm not really sure what the issue was. I think it's a problem with one of the mods or something, but this station was sunken down real low, and every metro station we had was really low in the ground, and so it wouldn't even show up our proper lines. But this right here is a great example of the things that we were preventing just by having parking AI off. Because when a tourist gets off, they obviously don't have a car, and if there's not a lot of parking here, then there's not a lot of spaces for cars to spawn. And so we were preventing any of this happening by having the parking AI off, which was really nice. And it looks like, I mean, even people are walking over here and pulling out their cars. Like, look at this person. They got like a little trailer. They just pulled the trailer out of their pocket. This person's got like a huge RV. Looks like they're going to gazebo number 1. Same with this little beetle with an RV. I mean, these people are just pulling these out of their pockets. And so we were stopping all this from happening. It's kind of funny. I guess these are all just tourists, and they come with little RVs. And I guess it's probably a feature of tourists. They all have little camper vans and a camper van, little RVs. But so let's look at some of the ways that we can maybe find some solutions for this. What I was thinking was putting in a one-way. I think that would help to kind of split this up, because you can kind of see, I mean, these people over here, this whole mess right here. And so that would be the first thing that I would probably do is go over to a 2-unit road, three lanes, and it does kind of suck because this is a special road, and so all you console people, this would not be a road that you'd be able to use. But having even a 2-lane one-way would work. The reason I like the 3-lane is because we do have 4-lane interchanges, and so it does allow a dedicated lane for every way. But what this does is it provides a clear path. We're taking the traffic and funneling them over this way where there's not a lot of cars. And so they can either turn right here and go into this intersection, or continue straight, go up there. It depends on where they're going, instead of coming down here, which was our problem intersection. And so we have prevented that from happening, and we've still kept all of our paths in place. We need to put in a path right here. I think there was a path there, but I think maybe it got deleted. I think there was one there, though. I'm not really sure what happened to it. So that should definitely work. We still got, I mean, a ton of people waiting for taxis, it looks like. Yeah, all these people are waiting for taxis. Which I ended up placing down some more taxi depots, because we do have a pretty crazy amount of people waiting for taxis, which is really surprising. I didn't realize that many people use the taxi service, but I went ahead and placed a second one in here. Or at least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. So there's one right there. Oh yeah, I did. It's right there. Is that it? No, so there's one right there. You know what? I think we're going to place a second one. I thought I had put a second one over here, but I guess not. So we are just going to place a second one, since we do have a pretty high demand for taxis. I think it would be smart to have a second one. I want to put it in a spot that's not going to mess up anything that we already got going on. I think having it over here would probably be good. Yeah, there you go. And then that way we can at least get some more people on the taxis, since they are waiting for them. I guess there's not a whole lot of people waiting, but... So if you go into your transportation hub, all these little green guys, they're waiting to be picked up by a taxi. I just recently discovered that. I thought it was a glitch in the game, but then if you find a taxi, they're the same color. So let's see, let's wait it out for a second. We should see a taxi come up. Yeah, there's a ton of them over here too. Surprised where our taxi's at. So there's a taxi stands, but they even... I haven't seen one taxi. Alright, well let's look at our traffic while we're trying to figure this out. Maybe the taxis are stuck in the traffic. So our main concern is just this road right here, and this was already a major stress point. When I built that whole entertainment complex, I was really thinking that this would provide enough access for this area, and it kind of does. And we did some really good freeway exits interchanges right here. The problem is it's kind of out of the way for a lot of the people over here, so this road is really the only solution. And so one of the things that I think would work out really well, and I was kind of playing around with it, trying to figure out like what the best thing to do was, and I think going off of this would be good, and then I think we'll just do that. And I'm using the tram road because our trams are literally right here, and so it's going to allow us to... Oh, I guess I didn't have collision on, so I'm going to go back and do that with collision. There you go. Now I need to just slightly move these real quick. There you go. And there we go. And so that's... So then what I was thinking is putting this over this direction. We'll have it pop down. And then what I want to do is have this come off at a 90-degree. And have it just meet up with that. I think that would be good. It's a nice little sweeping kind of S. Light bends, nothing too crazy. But then what we can do is come in here to our trams and just kind of grab one of these guys and put it like right there. Yeah, right there. And we'll grab... Wait, what's going on? Oh. No, we want to drag this line. Thought I had grabbed it, but apparently I was making a new line. And so it does kind of suck it's on a roundabout, but what I'm going to do is put some dedicated lanes around it so that people don't have to line up behind the trams whenever they're on the stop. Because I really don't want to put trams into this area. It just seems a little more involved with these roundabouts and everything, and it's just something that I want to try to avoid. Not enough customers, that's interesting. So at least now the trams will be able to make it over here and then kind of come back, and it'll be a nice little road. And then ideally what we're trying to do here is make it so that a lot of these cars that are using this main road are going to start using this road instead. And so let's go ahead and grab the road and see how many people we got using this thing. And we got a ton. I mean, it's a main road, and so it's to be expected. But I went ahead and grabbed this road, so we already got quite a few people, especially from this area. And so maybe we can... having the local road traffic is to be expected. This is kind of what we want to continue to allow, but all these people turning, we would really ideally want them to switch over to this road. And so that should definitely help our traffic. Yeah, what's our traffic at? So 74, we're already improving quite a bit. And a lot of it is just congested. This area was a little red, and I was thinking maybe we could, because this is only a single lane off-ramp, I think if we put in a double lane, it would make it just a little bit better, because then we could at least have like a left and a right, and so people could maybe not block traffic as much. I think it would be better if we could get it to go right there. Yeah, I think that would be great, because then now if people need to go right, they have that lane and they don't have to stop behind people trying to go left or continue on, because this was backing up quite a bit. And then I think the rest of our traffic was really just, you know, like we had some traffic over here, and it was just all the trucks kind of spawning after we had cleared the traffic. And even, I think our traffic should be going up even more. Yeah, 77, so we're definitely getting there. This area is still a little red. Having those two, though, should fix a lot of it, and a lot of it's the trams. The trams, once they space out a little more, then this whole area is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, because they wait to kind of leave gaps between. And so We're just gonna have to wait for that. The rest of it, I mean, this intersection already looks so much better. It's a lot less red. And we're already up to 77. This is always red. Pretty much all the roundabouts are always red. Just a lot of congestion in the area. I mean, this area, I don't know what we can really do except maybe get rid of the stops. If we got rid of all these stops, then we wouldn't have these people queuing up as much. And so let's see if people are even using these stops. Looks like blue people are using those ones. That's just a lot of people using these. So let's look at our trams since we added those new lines. So we got the blue line. So this is not too bad. Let's see those new stops and see how they're doing. So I mean they're being used. Oh man, this one's definitely. Let's look at this one. So the purple line. So 399. Let's see if we got any. Yeah, 108. And so that's gonna fill that up. Leaves 30. Man, this one 280. Let's see how many people get off this one. So it picked up only 10 people. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, until these unbunch, which they will, I don't know how much what we can really do to help this. It takes time for the lines to unbunch because every time one of these is full and it reaches it, it just kind of leaves in. So, I mean, our trip saved is at 78% now, and that was one of the things with the parking AI. It's no longer at 100%. Which it was nice when it was at 100, but so we could definitely lower this one. Still has a lot of people utilizing it, like a lot of those are still pretty full, but having the congestion, like a lot of them are pretty empty. So let's see, that might be too much. So we have 12. I think that'll be pretty good at 9. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So let's look at our other tram lines. Tram line 5. This is our red one. This is our work ones. These ones are, I mean, are pretty empty. We'll drop this down to 6. So if we can drop these down, then we can kind of increase the traffic a little bit. The traffic flow. Because these blue and purple ones we're just not going to really be able to fix. I mean, this one especially, it's got like 200 people at it. That's just a crazy amount of people. They're all going to that new tourist area. And they're all kind of unbunched now, so we should be getting them to all come up here, and so it should fix. I think 22 is probably going to be good for this. It's a bigger line. It goes around a pretty wide area. The goal is to just try to keep them as close to full as possible without having them too separated from each other. I mean, this one's pretty good now. Let's look at our traffic one more time. 76. I mean, it's about the same as what it was. Definitely with the pocket cars. We need to put down some residential pretty quick. All of our industrial is struggling too so much. But you can kind of see, I mean, with the pocket cars, we're definitely getting a lot more cars on the road. But nothing too crazy. I mean, this interchange has definitely gotten better. Yeah, I mean, it's letting most of the cars through. This is all congested but moving. think 76 is probably the best we're gonna get. It's kind of interesting these people are taking this road now that the one-way is. That might be something we need to address. That could potentially be a problem. Taking these smaller roads, which they could take a left, but deciding not to. Let's look at our metro lines. Buses are still pretty heavily used. Definitely not as much as it was, but they're not bad. I think we'll probably have to go back and adjust some of those bus lines, maybe reduce them down a little bit, but I think for this episode that was a good demonstration of turning off parking AI, and how it is a great feature, and I hope that it is included in City Skylines too, but it definitely acts kind of like a cheat a little bit. It makes your game run a little smoother, which I do like, but it when comparing to a lot of your guys' cities, it's just not incredibly realistic. I think that's pretty good. I mean, we still got just a ton of people. If you like the episode, go ahead and boop the like button. It helps the video to reach more people, especially being a new YouTuber. It's not easy for new people to see my content, and I have new episodes coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching.